I don't know about you, but for me, it is very easy to get or to feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by stress, overwhelmed by worry, overwhelmed because of the schedules that we keep or the expectations that are placed on us by others and sometimes by ourselves. Many of us are walking through the day today just on the verge of being overwhelmed and at the end of our rope. And I don't believe that that is how Jesus intended us to live. He did not intend for us to live overwhelmed with this life that we have chosen. He intended for us to be overflowing with peace and joy and contentment. And so if you are one who finds yourself prone to be overwhelmed by life or worry or stress, then there are some things you can do to move from overwhelmed to overflowing. Jesus said, he was teaching his disciples in John chapter 15, "I am the vine, you are the branches. When you stay joined to me and I stay joined to you, then you will produce lots of fruit. But you cannot do anything without me." Jesus is making it very clear that if you're going to follow him, you're going to get overwhelmed unless he is a huge part of everything you do. So let me give you 4 practical things that you can do today to begin to stop being overwhelmed and start being overflowing. Jesus used the word produce lots of fruit. And the fruit he's talking about is the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Those are the things that can overflow in your life if you take these steps to move from overwhelmed to overflowed. And the first one is stay connected to Jesus. Sounds like a no-brainer, doesn't it? Do something every day to stay connected to Jesus. Watching a 3-minute video as a devotional is a good start. But read his word for yourself. Pray. Do some spiritual disciplines that connect you to Jesus every day. And you will begin to feel less overwhelmed. Second thing you can do is to replace complaining with gratitude. Did you know that Paul told the Philippian church that we are to do everything without complaining? Complaining is contagious, and the more you complain, the more the people around you complain. It's easy to see things to be upset about and to complain about. But Paul says we're to just live our life without doing that in every area. And the way you do that is you pick up the mantle of gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to complaining. Look at the things that God has blessed you with, given you, and be grateful for those. Third thing you can do to move from overwhelmed to overflowing is to stop being stingy, start being generous. Generosity is something that will unlock God's blessings in your life. It's something that is kind of counterintuitive, but the more you hold on to your stuff, the more overwhelmed you will become by your stuff. And so when we learn to live with an open hand, when we learn to live generously, our hearts aren't tied to our stuff anymore. Our hearts are free to tie themselves to the heart of God, which is what we were designed for. So generosity is the antidote to stinginess and to greed. And then the last thing you can do to move from overwhelmed to overflowing is to stop comparing yourself to other people and learn to be content. No one wins the comparison game, and you are not authorized by God to compare yourself or your journey to anyone else's. You are unique. You have your own path to take, and you are going to do so much damage to your heart by comparing yourself to others. There's only 2 things you can do when you compare yourself to others. You can look at somebody else's life and think, I'm never going to be as good as them, or you can look at somebody's life and say, they're never going to be as good as me. When you compare, you either elevate or you de-elevate yourself to a place where God never intended you to be. The antidote is to learn to be content. And that doesn't mean to go through life without goals or ambitions. It just means that gratitude and generosity rule, not looking to somebody else for validation. Your validation comes from your Savior and no one else. So today I hope you can take a couple of these steps, maybe all of them, and that we would all move from being overwhelmed to overflowing. The world needs you to be overflowing with love and joy and peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Instead of being overwhelmed, let us overflow.